Good evening. This is Doc Severson for the TheoTrade report for Tuesday, May 16th. The song remains the same here on the S&P 500 as really nothing much was moving whatsoever today. In fact, very slightly down to close right at that 2400 level. And that wasn't the only one as well, too. The Dow Jones Industrials, again, had a difficult time getting anywhere. It was about as flat as you could possibly be today. And then we came to the Russell 2000, and the Russell 2000 was just incrementally higher right now. It is a very important position as to whether or not right now this is just a great tipping point here as to whether this is going to break to the upside or continue melting down from here. So watch this one in particular over the next few days, and really all we have to watch is this range here between 1380 and 1400. Which way it breaks from there will likely kind of set the tone for the market in the near term. But what is setting the tone right now in the market is clearly the Nasdaq. Right now the Nasdaq is just going berserk. Everybody's run out of adjectives to describe the Nasdaq, but this is really not a surprise because of earnings, right? I mean, for all the promise that these companies had 17, 18 years ago and were, inflated on fluff, now all of a sudden this is the only game in town when it comes to consistent performance and beating earnings. Now, ultimately, I mean, you've probably heard all kinds of dire warnings about this. I mean, when we see markets that go kind of into this S-shaped curve, we typically do not see them end well. At the very least, what I would expect is to see some greater deal of consolidation that involves some type of back and forth here as we have multiple exhaustion levels on multiple time frames here. And so typically what we're going to be seeing is something somewhat akin to this. It's going to feel like a very different feeling market just to go through that, but it's a very normal part of this cycle of range expansion, range contraction that we go through. So right now we're in massive range expansion when it comes to the Nasdaq, and we're going to be due here for a massive range contraction cycle. Now we can start to see just kind of what this market move was made out of today. As if we look at the S&P sectors here, we had 8 sectors declining, 4 advancing, and one of the advancers was the VIX here, which is what I've got. So we had only from this list here, we had financials going higher, we had technology going higher. Just about everybody else was getting drubbed today, and as a result of that we had the volatility futures somewhat going higher. So let's drill into that. Let's move over here to the Nasdaq. So we'll look at the Nasdaq 100 here, and out of the Nasdaq 100 you could see, well, first of all, 63 advancers, 43 decliners, right? But Baidu real strong. We had Amazon real strong as market weighting, right? We had, let's see, Microsoft along here is, one of the leaders for the day. There we are. Microsoft is huge weighting right now in terms of that, and Vodafone was a huge winner today as well. So I think obviously the risk when it comes to this market is that when these charts stop going up, if there's any trouble at all, I think we will see some type of a chain reaction, kind of a domino effect here, because as I pointed out previously, we have fewer and fewer stocks that are actually above their 50-day moving average right now in the S&P 500. So that is not good. That is a technical divergence there, and it's only just a few big studs that are heavily cap weighted that are attracting all the attention, right? So we've got the Microsofts, which apparently has gotten over its bad day of being hacked here on their old operating systems. And, after paying the dividend, everybody's happy here, right? And Amazon just continues to drive higher here. And again, is this one going to stop before it hits 1,000 or probably not? I mean, at this point, there's perhaps just enough energy to be able to tag the 1,000 level and see if any shorts will still continue covering at that point. So all it takes is one little piece of data to be able to shift market sentiment, as we saw so many times. I mean, like the Ebola virus back in 2014. All of a sudden, everybody's panicked about one little thing. Imagine all the risk that's out there today. The market just continues climbing along the edge of this razor blade right now, and all it's going to take is one little piece. Not that I'm predicting anything to happen, but right now everything is shifting over into this chart. Now, I'm going to finish out today by showing you this one chart here, which is Baidu. And this is the mother of all consolidation patterns. So this one I've been following for quite some time now. And we've seen this thing come to the apex of this massive pattern. Let's kind of redraw this around here, and you can kind of see how this has gotten to the apex of this pattern with just a tremendous amount of consolidative energy here. And it appears to be breaking out to the upside. Appears to be breaking out to the upside. So it has gotten past earnings. And so perhaps one way to trade this is through an inexpensive speculative debit spread, perhaps out of the money. So we've seen what happens when a chart like this has built up a great deal of energy, is that it can generate a massive move. So this is one of these, epic consolidations right now. The spring is just coiled up. You can almost see it right now. So is this going to be able to exceed previous highs? Perhaps. Again, it's hard to call a direction on something like this. The price can break either way from here, but right now the odds do favor a continuation to the upside with Baidu. That is it for today's report, folks. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow.